Alright, welcome back to the tutorial for Omega Game Framework, the best gameplay framework for Unreal Engine. Today, we're covering gameplay systems. So gameplay systems are one of the most foundational aspects of Omega Game Framework. They are singleton actors that get spawned into your world to modularly run some sort of function and have a return event. So this is often where you will put things like your main exploration mode, your battle system, and they can be layered on top of each other, and you can do all sorts of things with them. But this is kind of where you put the main functionality for a specific sort of game state. To demonstrate this, let's go in here, and actually I'll set up the main folder. I like to do omain, so it keeps it at the top all the time. Alright, so let's set up our first system just to test things out. Look up system, and then you have gameplay systems. Test, and let's load it up. Now, because this is an actor, you have all the functionality of an actor, namely adding components and receiving input easily. Here, let's go to the event graph. We have a state for when it's activated and a state for when it is shut down. We can also feed in a context object and a flag, as well as a generic, let me just look up meta. You have this generic metadata, which just has a bunch of stuff you can use, but we won't go too much into that right now. I think to test this out, let's go ahead and do tick, plug that in, do that, shorten this, and then we'll say when we're activated, we're going to delay, we'll say 2 seconds, and then shut down. This will, shut down our system and then run a shutdown process and then delete it. Because there's a few different ways you can activate game or gameplay systems. For first, let's make a game mode to go alongside this, just to demonstrate everything. Now, importantly, you're going to want to use Omega Game Mode because some pretty important functionality is tied to this. So when you're using a game mode with OGF, make sure to use the Omega Game Mode as your base. So we'll do GM main. And then here we'll say, look up activate system. And you will have this function here, activate gameplay system. Now, there's a bug right now where it actually is showing more. Don't use this one. You want the one with the node outputs. But here you go. Then we'll just select our gameplay system. There's some built-in ones. We're not going to worry about those right now. Just do our system test. To further demonstrate it, we'll say on shutdown, print string, I'm done. Let's set this up. And there you go. The system ran as expected. And that gives you a nice asynchronous gameplay state. Now, this is the most common way. You will probably be using a gameplay system, so you can put all your functionality wrapped in one system. And of course, because it's deleted, it means anything you use in this system, like any components and whatever, any actor instances will also get cleared out. So that's very useful for creating like a contained game state. Now, this is the most common way you'll probably use this as this asynchronous node. There's a couple other ways to use it though. Such as set system active, which lets you toggle a system as active or not. So you can do the same thing here, just activate the system. It won't have any of the outputs, but there's an option as well. But there's also another way you can use gameplay systems, which is in your game mode, and that's for setting up automatic systems. So systems that will automatically be activated at different points during your game state. So if we go in here, and for 5-7 we'll have to scroll down, but under Omega Systems, we have a few different options. So we have preload, load, postload, and persistent. A preload system is run as soon as your game mode is started. Then we have a load system. Now you only get one of these. This is essentially after your game mode has started. We will run a load system. And here I actually have a built-in load system that I commonly use, which has some functionality I'll quickly show you. This is built into the Omega Game Framework. But basically, it has some functionality for awaiting certain things to be loaded, like making sure if your game is async loading anything, if it's loading any level instances, sort of prevent any moving forward into the main gameplay state until we finished doing any core loading of like assets and level streaming and stuff. And anyway, once the load state is finished, then we will activate any post-load states. So anything we wanting to run after the load state is finished. So pretty easy. Preload. So visually a demonstration would be, something like this. Then begin play, then we do preload activation, then load system, and then post-load activation. Now lastly though, we have something called persistent systems. And these will be gameplay systems that will constantly be attempted to be activated if they are not already. And that's where on specifically this tick. So you have persistent system frequency. This means every this amount of seconds, we will attempt to activate every system in this list. Now, what's the use of this? Well, typically, the way I use this is I use this for my actual main gameplay state. You can call it gameplay. I like to call it exploration. That's always my main system state. So we'll pull this up. This will be our main system, our state of control. And if we go into here, and actually let's go and make sure print string active explore. Then, if I put that in here, system exploration, then there, it's automatically activated. Now you'll notice when I activate this exploration system, it's actually running during my load state, and I don't want that. So the way you can prevent that is using system tags. So if you go into here, under Omega, you have the tags right here. These are for a number of things. If you've ever used the gameplay ability system, slightly similar to that. You can give tags to the system, and then you can set block tags and blocked on system tags. What does this mean? Well, kind of as it says, the tags here will block any system, will deactivate and block any systems based on their tags up here. And this is similarly, only it says this system cannot be activated if any systems with these tags are active. There's also global events, but we won't go into those right now. So to prevent this exploration system from running while the game is loading, so we don't have control while we're actually in a closed, while the screen is black and we're actually loading in. Under my default load system, I'll just use as an example, I have here block system tags exploration. So let's go up and do exploration. So we're going to give ourselves that tag. These are some of the tags that are built in. No, not sub-explore, exploration. So now, if I activate this, you see it doesn't activate until load is done. And that's useful for things like battle systems or dialogue, where you can set those up to block exploration system until it's active, but you don't need to keep always reminding it to, hey, reactivate the exploration system whenever dialogue or combat over is finished. Because it knows as long as nothing is blocking it, like one of the systems, then it should be active, and it'll automatically activate itself. And it makes handling that state management much, much easier. Also, another useful feature are system notifies. So you can output a notify with a context as well. And when using this right here, that'll output this node right here. So you can output, certain events and a context of those events without actually fully shutting the system down. And that is the basics of gameplay systems in Omega Game Framework.